Interlagos, always a very special race here in Brazil. It's a 2.7-mile circuit with 9 left turns and 6 right turns for a total of 15 corners. It's a wet one today as well, so grip and visibility will be at a premium, and the drivers will need to be careful coming up the hill in Sector 3, the scene of many an accident over the years. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Oscar Piastri completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Verstappen, Russell, Fernando Alonso, Leclerc, Hamilton, Ricciardo, Lopez, Perez, Stroll, Gasly, Ocon, Albon, Bottas, Zhou, Magnussen, Tsunoda, Sargent, and Nico Hülkenberg rounds off the grid. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out. And alongside me in the commentary box, my old friend, Anthony Davidson. Well, they say that a change is as good as a rest, and whilst there's not much rest on show in the sprint format today, there's definitely a change to what we're usually seeing on the track. Let's look at their season, and particularly against their teammate. Fair to say, they've got the better of them more often than not. So we're getting close to the start of the race. What will this driver be experiencing? Big nerves? Big excitement? What?
Always extra nerves at the start of the race. It's probably at the start of the race, it's where your heart rate's at its highest in anticipation. And you've got to be in the right mindset. You've got to be thinking there inside the car, what can go right? How can I be opportunistic rather than what can go wrong? And how do I protect my position? Look forward and stay positive. It's easy to say, very hard to do when you're in that position.
issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them. Watch out for understeer in the wake of the car ahead. Try to get past as quickly as you can. Push, push. The rain's getting lighter now, but it's going to take a while for the track to dry out. Right, we need to get past here. Use overtake, use overtake. That's 8th place, you're in 8th place. It's Hamilton ahead. They're on a fresh set of wets. That's Ricciardo behind. They're on a fresh set of wets. Okay, so gap to the leader, 6.5 seconds. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go. Right, the gap to the teammate ahead of us, 1.8 seconds. Green flag. As things stand, we're going to be leading the championship. Norris has just put in the fastest lap of the race so far. not a perfect situation, but I don't think we've got cause to move on to a different tyre yet. Okay, gap to the car ahead, 1.8 seconds. Pace is strong, but be aware these tyres need to go the distance. Tyre condition still looking good. Okay, here's the gap that we're trailing the car ahead by. 5.6 seconds. I've got some information on Alonso. They've got some kind of mechanical problem. Okay, some information on Norris. Okay, it looks like the problem's terminal. They're retiring the car. Caution, caution. Okay, clear. Okay, mate, this is the final lap of the race. Final lap. Okay, you're doing well out there. Keep it up. We're looking at about 10 more minutes of rain. 10 minutes. Okay, you're doing well out there. Keep it up. We're looking at about 10 more minutes of rain. 10 minutes. As things stand, we're going to be leading the championship. Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
So with the sprint concluded, join us next time for qualifying and of course the main event, this weekend's Formula One Grand Prix. We'll see you next time. It's a Saturday showdown. Anyone fancy some hot laps around Interlagos? It's qualifying day here for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix.
Okay, we've been pushed down to P13. And that's P13, P13. Okay, we've only got 1 lap of fuel remaining.
Welcome along then to where heroes and history are made. It's where the 2008 title was decided in the very final corner. And just 1 year later, Jenson Button stormed through from 14th on the grid to claim his one and only Drivers' Championship. It's time then for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. We're racing today then at Interlagos, a historic 2.7 mile circuit and one of the few anti-clockwise tracks on the calendar. 15 corners in total, 9 to the left and 6 to the right, with a technical middle section opening up to a flat-out Sector 3. That gives us our best passing opportunity down into Turn 1. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and Fernando Alonso completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Lopez, Tsunoda, Perez, Stroll, Hamilton, Russell, Bottas, Verstappen, Hülkenberg, Zhou, Ocon, Leclerc, Magnussen, Sargent, Oscar Piastri, Gasly, Ricciardo, and Alex Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. And alongside me today, a man who I'm always pleased to see join me in the commentary box, Anthony Davidson. Let's look at their season, and particularly against their teammate. Fair to say, they've got the better of them more often than not. Look, we know it's not where you start, it's where you finish. But let's talk about the start now. What's there to help the drivers get away well?
Big pressure at the start of the race, Crofty, for all of them up and down the grid, no matter where you are. But the drivers these days, they practice, practice and practice. They have rigs with them at the circuit where they can sit down with the actual steering wheel from the real car. And they've got lights that they react to. The clutch paddle is tailored around the driver's hands, around their fingers, so they can have optimum position before they start. So there's so much thought and effort that goes into getting these cars off the line.
DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of... Come on, you can win that place back. Let's use overtake and burn off some of this energy. As things stand, we're going to be leading the championship. You're leading the pack, that's P1. Norris is behind you. Less than a second separates you. They're on fresh mediums. And that's 13 laps now until your pit window's open. And that's 33 laps to go. We're expecting some rain soon. Expect the first drops in the next few minutes. Look out for a bit of understeer when trailing the car ahead. They're going to be giving off dirty air. Nice move, good job. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 7.7 seconds. Okay, mate, picking your moments to use ERS is important, so let's try and be as consistent as possible with it, please. situation's an interesting one, but I think the right call is to stick with what we've got for now. You might experience some understeer now that you're in the wake of the car ahead. Try to get past as soon as possible. Okay, the stewards have now disabled DRS. DRS is now disabled. At least another 10 minutes until this rain evens out. Stay alert out there. Okay, not sure whether dries or inters are faster. We're right on the crossover. Right, we're no longer sure that these tyres are the right ones. It might be time to come in and change. Understood. Stopping this lap. All right, we'll be doing one more stop today. One stop left in this strategy. Charles is in the pits. Okay, off we go, back into the race. Perfect job on the turn in there, mate. Looks like a nice stop time. We're happy with that one. Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross onto the track. Okay, unlucky, mate. That wasn't quite what we needed, but let's not worry about it. Get your head down and chin up. There's a long way to go. No need to worry. Use your overtake button more. It's time to utilise some of this energy. Come on. Inters look like the best tyre for now. You're in first position, front of the pack. Norris behind. They're on a fresh set of Inters. Pit window opens in 12 laps time. 12 laps. As things stand, we're going to be leading the championship. These conditions are only getting worse. Watch out for standing water. Okay, no issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them. gap to your teammate behind, 12.5 seconds. Coping okay with this weather. We're watching the amount of standing water on the road, and for now we think it's safe to stay with the Inter. As things stand, we're going to be leading the championship. Okay, mate. Right, we've got some clear track in front of us, so let's make best use of it and make the next lap a quick one. You got this. So the rain's easing off a bit, but the track is still going to be wet for a while. Be careful. Inters seem to be the fastest tyre for now. Tyre condition still looking good. Oh mate, you made that look easy. Nice work. That's why I love working with you. Smashed it. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 22.7 seconds. We've got a lot of spare energy, okay to use your overtake button. Okay, so all of our tyre pressure data is currently reading 0. Assuming they still look inflated to you, we're going to guess that it's just a bad sensor. Shouldn't be anything to worry about. Minutes left of this rain, then we think it's going to dry up. 10 minutes. And we're still happy that we're on the right tyres at the moment. As things stand, we're going to be leading the championship. Okay, we're boxing this lap. Give us the best in lap you can. Alright, we'll be doing one more stop today. One stop left in this strategy. Your pit window's now open. Pit window is open. Okay, I think we're still on the right tyres for the time being. Remember, box this lap. Keep an eye on your distance to the speed limit line as you approach and make sure you don't speed. Okay, the scrub tyres should rubber in faster, allowing you to start the push sooner. Right, let's go, come on. Perfect job from you and the crew there, mate. We're delighted with that. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. Charles is in for his stop now. No need to worry about the tyre condition for now, everything's looking good. You need to slow slow down before hitting the corners. We don't want to get a penalty. Stroll is ahead of you. Okay, keep an eye on that gap ahead, please. 4.1 seconds. They're on old intermediates. Okay, they've done 15 laps on those tyres. Time last lap, 1 minute 21.1. Increasing the gap to the car behind by a few seconds per lap. Keep it up. Okay, mate, Stroll ahead. Come on, mate, this is it. Let's try and get past them quickly. Great stuff. It looked like you made easy work of that target. Let's try and keep that going right through to the end of the race. It looks like we're running on a dry track soon. Back to dry shortly. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. Okay, no issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them. Current forecast is 5 or 10 minutes more of rain before it starts to dry up. Inters look like the best tyre for now. Battery charge is high, let's use that overtake button a bit more. Gap to your teammate behind, 45.8 seconds. The energy store's depleting, reducing our overall capacity. The more charge you hold, the faster that capacity will drop. The weather's certainly eased off for the time being, but we've still got a lot of standing water out there. We're happy for you to stay out on the inters for now. The energy store's depleting, reducing our overall capacity. The more charge you hold, the faster that capacity will drop. No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving. confirmed. We'll receive you at the end of this lap. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 49.2 seconds. Okay, looks like some of those puddles are clearing. We're still definitely on the right tyre for the time being, but we're probably not a million miles away from slick conditions.
Safety car deployed. Stay positive.
Right, drop your speed. Our delta's too low and we're going to risk a penalty. Slow your pace immediately. Okay, let's go now. Come on. That was a fantastic stop, faster than we were expecting. Up to speed now. Let's get some heat into those tyres. Okay, let's get ready to go racing again. Flag. Good job, nice overtake. As things stand, we're going to be leading the championship. Okay, the stewards have now enabled DRS. DRS is now online. Okay, mate, final lap. Keep your concentration and let's bring it home. Gap to your teammate behind, 11.0 seconds. As things stand, we're going to be leading the championship. Fantastic drive, that's just fantastic, amazing, you deserved that race win. Well done, mate.
Not just victory today then, but the championship as well. What a spectacular season they've had. Congratulations to the whole team.
Well, another race victory today. You could clearly see they're driving out there with very little pressure. You know they have the performance. They know they've got the car under them as well. And this has done no harm, of course, for their championship chances.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action, and I can't wait to see what's next.